Get your trousers on. You're nicked.
The Sweeney's doing 90 cause they've got nowhere to go. They get a gang of villains in a shed up at Heathrow. They're counting out the fivers when the handcuffs lock again. In and out at once will put the numbers on their names. It's funny how the missus always looks a bleeding sane. And meanwhile at the station there's a couple of likely lads who swear like how's your father, and they're very cool for cats, they're cool for cats.
Want a cigarette, Gun?
Look, Slag, I don't give a toss who you have in your bed, but don't you try and run your numbers on me. You are nicked!
The word is you're an evil bastard. Even the other old Bill thinks so.
Cobblers.
Who the hell are you? Sweeney, watch your mouth. Relaxes the throat.
Oh, it does, yeah.
Who are you? We're the Sweeney, son, and we haven't had any dinner. You've kept us waiting, so unless you want a kicking, you tell us where those photographs are.
Usual, please, tell. Now, the original TV film Regan was created by one of television's best writers, and his name was Ian Kennedy Martin. The story centred around Jack Regan, this tough flying squad DI who liked to drink and a smoke, and who never let regulations or political correctness get in the way of nicking what he called some hard-nosed, airy-arse villain.
This is a colleague of mine. He hits people. Isn't that right, colleague?
The Regan character was a real guy, and I watched him, and I went out with him, and I drank with him, and I noted things that he did, and his dialogue, and his attitudes.
Detective Inspector Regan, Flying Squad, you're nicked.
The interesting thing about John in the Sweeney is it was the character that was least like him.
If I find out I'm being lied to, I'm not a very pleasant man to know. Right, George?
Right, Governor. He was about as far removed from Regan as you could get in reality, which shows what a wonderful actor he was.
It's a marvellous character to do, obviously, for someone who is basically a coward, I suppose. It's lovely to be able to let your fantasy run wild by being, you know, the tough guy who's afraid of nothing. If you weren't who you are, I'd kick your ass up to your shoulder blades.
For Jack Regan, there was always time for the one glass of beer or a large scotch, usually with his Detective Sergeant George Carter, played by Dennis Waterman. Now, the rapport between John Thaw and Dennis Waterman, both on and off screen, made Regan and Carter one of the most convincing partnerships ever seen on television.
How much to pay for that whistle?
40 quid.
40 quid? You know you could have got a new one for that, don't you?
Yeah.
No, seriously, Gov. If you ever want to get rid of it, I'll buy it off you.
Really?
Yeah, really. My mum's dog needs something to sleep on, you see.
You get up!
George Carter was a very, very good, promising detective sergeant. He was taken off the rails every now and again by Regan, who was, you know, the serious loose cannon.
All I know is that you've given me the runaround ever since I've been involved in this case.
It wasn't down to me, you went over my head!
Only because you wouldn't listen, you bastard!
Now shut it!
He knew there were things he shouldn't do, but he knew he was going to get the right results. Carter respected Regan hugely. He would stick by Regan through thick and thin and say, look, we did the job, we nicked him, he deserved nicking, and we gave him a good kicking, which he also deserved.
Dirty, filthy, festering scum! You even bruise him, and you're needing embalmer, not a brief.
Within a few episodes, we became a double act.
Now down! Here comes from the
The Sweeney was so popular, not just with audiences, but with actors. It was one of those jobs you just desperately want into.
Don't you need a warrant?
No, not as you invited me in.
I did not ask you in. How dare you come in here without a warrant?
Cancel it. Your hire car to the airport. It broke down.
It was cool to be in the Sweeney. If you were in the Sweeney, it was, you know, you were somebody.
Hello, son. What's that, your last will and testament?
John Thaw said, don't put the camera on me, put it on the boy. Everybody knows what I look like, and put it on the young kid. And he did, and I thought, what a lovely thing to say.
Yeah, well, whatever I say, you ain't going to believe me.
Come on, you know better than that, son.
Look, When I left Turner, he was as healthy as you and on his feet.
You learn a lot by watching people like that when you're young, watching their use of the camera, their use of angles, and just listening, which was a great education as well as great fun to be in.
Oi, come here, sunshine! You're getting too heavy, son.
Yeah, we'll never trust a cop, but that's what I say.
That sounds like Uncle Len's party piece.
Well, he's bloody right, isn't he? What are we going to do about him, Gov?
It was only my second day, and I had one of those inimitable lines, you mean dead? Well, they're always very hard to say. You mean dead? And you practice it and you merit it. You mean dead?
You mean dead?
They were appalling to work with because John and Dennis were just the other side of the camera going. And all this was going on. There was a lot of lip quivering, which could be, I suppose, translated as weeping, but actually me trying not to laugh.
I'm sorry.
Funny thing, they're always sorry.
When they're caught.
Oh, yeah. When?
I'll talk. Everything I know.
The Sweeney was the first homegrown police series to be shot on film and all on location, all of which gave it that hard, realistic air. The lads rolled their sleeves up, tooled up, and got stuck in, which was a stark contrast to the sort of cosy British Bobby-on-the-beat policing viewers had been used to.
Chief Superintendent Lockhart's in charge of this investigation, Corbett.
Oh, well, I don't know anything about any murder.
Now, Corbett, I'm going to ask you a few questions. I know the answers to some of them already, but I'm going to ask them just the same to test your ability to tell the truth.
All right! Tell us, Edmonds! Where were you last Friday between 2 and 2:15 p.m.? Answer me!
The significant thing about The Sweeney was, of course, that it was the first television drama series made all on film. That meant we were able to introduce cinematic production values. So lots of action, lots of car chases, lots of stunts.
Who taught you to drive? Evel Knievel?
A lot of the people involved behind the camera were people who'd worked in news, current affairs and documentaries, so they knew how to run around with a camera on their shoulders.
All right, drop it. You're nicked.
If there was a breakthrough at all, anywhere, it was the fact that so much of what we did was on location. And the locations were real, and what was happening in the streets was real. And the kind of characters were real. And also, there's no doubt at all, that almost every single episode was based on real events.
Right, you've got 30 seconds. Or on top of motor theft, there's resisting arrest and assault with a deadly weapon. And forgery. There won't be any cars for you to nick by the time they let you out, son. You pigs will fit anybody up. Watch your mouth!
Nicked. How can I be nicked? I'm Regan. The Sweeney might have attracted an audience of millions of fans, but from the police, it got a very mixed reaction. You see, officially, they complained about the flying squad being portrayed as a bunch of womanising hard drinkers who rubbed shoulders with various underworld scallies and snouts. But unofficially, most Scotland Yard detectives thought John and Dennis were pretty much bang on.
Be a doddle, eh? Sure. Be out of here in 10 minutes.
Lights! Kenny Jarvis. Bloody Regan.
It totally captured the feeling of the flying squad at that time.
I think I've lost the use of my legs.
Never mind, you get a disability pension.
How long have we got to wait here?
Every day till Askins realises there's nothing in it.
We fondly called it, on occasions, our instruction class.
Question is, do I write my statement then get drunk, or get drunk and then write it?
Why not just get drunk?
Yeah, why not?
The flying squad were seen as human beings who got drunk and bet on horses and messed around with girls.
A fag, George?
Yeah, of course.
Smoking in bed is dangerous.
Yes, I know, Lebanon. Everything he does in bed is dangerous.
Not half as dangerous as what she does.
The flying squad that we drank with, their biggest fear is that we were showing their wives what really went on. They were going, you've got to stop doing this because my woman knows what I do now. I mean, they were petrified.
I'm no longer the despised aide to CID that was when I knew you. I don't need it every afternoon anymore.
And you don't get it either, do you? Bald, pot-bellied, double chin. Most coppers get like that.
You've been conducting a survey?
My sister told me that.
Yeah, all the ones that Millie knows are like that. You know, she shaved the hairs off her chest and put a frock on.
Oh, I don't know what I ever saw in you.
You saw free food, free pictures and a hoped-for fur coat.
I can